13 Ghost, or as the cool kids used to call it, Thir13en Ghost. It was directed by Steve Beck and was released in 2001. Now, Steve Beck has also directed one other film, and that was Ghost Ship, and it was also produced by Dark Castle Entertainment. And one of the persons that produced the film was Joel Silver, who I'm a big fan of Joel Silver. Now, Joel Silver, a great way to describe Joel Silver is if Steven Spielberg was the straight A student, then Joel Silver would probably be the guy that would be at the back of the classroom just making jokes and being a total asshole and a rebellious teen. And you just love him for that because, yeah, he can be snarky, yeah, he can be a jerk, but at the same time, the dude is so cool that you just can't help but love him. Some of the accolades that Joel Silver has accumulated over the years is just a what's what of amazing movies, and one of them is Die Hard, and another is Predator, Lethal Weapon. So many great movies, the Matrix trilogy, and in going into the Dark Castle Entertainment section, you got Gothica and The Invasion, which is one of the remakes to Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and a very underrated ninja movie called Ninja Assassin, and you really need to check it out once you get a chance to. Now, on to 13 Ghosts, starring one of my favorite actors of all time, Tony Shalhoub, who was also a star of one of my favorite TV series, probably my favorite crime series, and that is Monk. Tony Shalhoub gets first billing in one of the very rare moments in his career. Usually, he's a supporting character, or he's like a very far cameo, or a very far supporting character as well. But here he carries this movie very, very well, because you do feel not only his struggle, but the idea of him coping a very large loss, and it wasn't a stretch for him to do so, because you got to see his that kind of character in Monk. This can be like some sort of connection. I don't know, maybe some sort of spin-off to Monk, which is kind of weird, but at the same time it kind of makes sense because he's still kind of acting those same tropes. Now, he has a daughter and a son. His daughter played by the very beautiful Shannon Elizabeth, and his son played by F. Murray Abraham, and I don't think that, well, actually, no, that F. Murray Abraham is actually the guy that played his uncle. Getting my notes mixed up. Alec Roberts, who I don't think he acted anything else after this. He was a cute kid. I liked him. And Matthew Lillard was part of this in his very rare moments as a not so obnoxious character. Actually, this was probably his best performance. And he's actually not I wouldn't say a supporting character. I think he was a co-star. As opposed to Tony Shalhoub. And I don't think that he was that much of a supporting character in this movie. So the movie is basically, it centers around Tony Shalhoub's character, Arthur Criticus, I don't know, Kriticos. How do you pronounce that? Criticus. So Arthur and his family, they're struggling, but for some reason he has a nanny. Doesn't make any sense, but hey, you needed to have your comic relief. But I didn't think that the comic relief was overdone. And Embeth, the person that was playing the nanny, Embeth Davids, Trying to figure out some of the other movies that she's been in. She was in Army of Darkness, cool. She was in Junebug. Bicentennial Man, I remember that. It had Robin Williams in it. And recently she's been in Californication and Mad Men. Okay, but I've never really noticed her, but here she's one of the more memorable characters, and it's she does a serviceable job. I think if it was more so if she was the love interest, like I don't think that the fact that Tony Shalhoub's character lost his wife really played so much into this. Like, the wife could have been, instead, like, the person that died could have been his sister or, his mother or somebody like that, because it didn't really play too much into things, because the son and the daughter weren't really affected by the mother's loss. And I remember, like, the kid even saying in some of the scenes where he was like, yeah, my mom died in a freak accident, and he's like smiling about it. I'm like, yeah, I guess that would be a kind of cool thing to happen to you, weirdo. So yeah, the whole story centers around Arthur and his family moving into his recently deceased uncle's house, which is like this freaky house. It looks like a greenhouse, but it was created by this very eccentric guy who's got a lot of time on his hands, and not just that, but probably hooked on heroin, because this place is like a freaking maze. Now, there is a tiny bit of a catch to this, and that is that this house holds around 12 ghosts, okay? And there is a 13th ghost, which which kind of explains the title of the movie, but at the same time, you don't know who is the 13th ghost, and there is a twist at the end, but I will not spoil it. I will not say who it is. And I will not say how this whole movie ends, because it's quite a ride. It's one of the better movies produced by Dark Castle, but at the same time, I wouldn't say it's really the best, because this was part of this was the beginning of their of pretty much building the production, and actually bringing in fans to their product. And I do think that they did a good job in that, because some people like Full Moon. The Full Moon has their cult following, but I always loved Dark Castle. They always, no matter how bad the movies are, there's always something that will grab me in. Like, for example, Ghost Ship. I will agree, it's a bad movie, but it does grab me in. And some of the other movies that they produced, which I might be covering somewhere down the line. So, with that being said, rate, comment, favorite, help, please subscribe, and check out my next video. I'll be talking about something else. My rating for this movie, I would give it 3 out of 5 stars.